Everybody, I want to welcome you to another edition of the Super Simple Outsourcing webinar. This is our March 31st edition, and hopefully the start of your spring has been going well, and hopefully you had a great weekend, and looking forward to another productive week. We're going to go ahead and jump right into the agenda today. We got kind of a full plate of stuff, and so we want to get moving pretty quick. I have Paul on the line today, and he's going to be walking through just some tips and pointers on local SEO and ranking, and I think it's really going to be beneficial for those of you who have questions in this area, which there always seems to be quite a few questions. And so let's get to that as soon as we can, and let's run through this real quick. I want to make sure that everything is running on and you can hear us and see the screen. So if a couple of you could just confirm that, please do let us know so we know that everything's working. And the recording is running. I'm going to double check that. I have that going. So we always have these available for recording for review afterwards if you happen to miss one. And we have a little YouTube channel, or they are available on the Super Simple Outsourcing site. The link is right there. I believe I also put that in the chat panel before the webinar started, and indeed I did. So there's a clickable link in the chat panel. Excellent. Pamela says, I can hear and see you. Very good. And same with Richard. Thank you very much. And Clay. Fantastic. And Pamela, your greetings from Alaska. Very good. Hopefully you are crawling out of the darkness into more light in the day now. So very good. Let's see what we also got. We do have that chat panel for your questions. We've got some content to present to you today, and we do aim to be able to answer some questions for you at the end of it, or sometimes Paul will take a break and do a quick check, and if we can have a couple of questions at that time, then we'll go ahead and do so. But feel free to fill those questions in as they come up, and we'll monitor them and answer as many as we can. If we can't get to a question of yours, and a lot of times it may be a very specific question about your campaign, or perhaps it's just very related to your own circumstances with Nitro Marketing, we may go ahead and bench that question and have you send in a support ticket. And the support email is on the screen there. If it's very much related to Paul and his company, Endless Rise, there is a customer service number in the chat panel for you to reach out to, and that way you get connected with your account rep, and that way they can go over your individual question. So if you don't hear from us, those are the avenues to get your questions answered. All right, today we have myself. I'm from Nitro Marketing, and I'm the support manager with Nitro Marketing. And like I said a little bit earlier, most of you are probably very familiar with Paul, and he is the CEO and SEO guru, I call him, from Endless Rise. So, Paul, how was your vacation your weekend over there in the Philippines?
It was good. Thanks for having me on, Matt. I spent my weekend with our development team, so it was a fun and productive weekend. Always. Well. I'm a pretty big fan of prepping for the week during the weekend, so my weekends are not as eventful as most people's probably.
Well, at least it was productive. I mean, sometimes with a development team or support or technical aspects, it's a hair-pulling weekend, so I'm glad that wasn't the case. Well, very good. You guys are always moving forward, so I don't doubt that you were keeping the development team hopping as usual. And so we're probably going to hear, actually in a moment here, we're going to hear about a new development team. And I guess there's no rest for Paul's development team, because I know they just released a gigantic development that Paul's going to detail for us in a couple moments here. And so I'll let him do that at the right time. And that's actually the next bullet point, is the Pro Membership Review. I'll run through this agenda real quick, and then I'm going to hand it over to Paul. We're going to do a quick recap on the Pro Membership and all the details about it. It's a really exciting development. The other topic for today, we already mentioned that, is going to be the local SEO and ranking best practices and what to do and locations and all of that good stuff. I also wanted to highlight the April 14th webinar. So these are every other Monday. So the next one will be April 14th, a couple Mondays from now, and we are going to talk about going big. And Paul is going to take an in-depth look at how local marketing agencies got to be big. Therefore, kind of giving you a blueprint that you can look at and aim for if that's what you decide that you really want to take this thing to the next level and really grow. There's going to be a nice blueprint and some content that Paul is going to deliver for you in a couple of weeks. So make sure to write that down. We will send you the reminder emails. We'll probably send you a highlight email the week before on April 7th just to let you know the content, but I want to make you aware of what's coming up. And then, of course, we mentioned the Q&A. So use that chat panel, and we will get to as many questions as we can, time permitting, at the end. And with that said, I'll come up for a breath, Paul, and I will go ahead and get the screen heading over to you for the Pro Membership Review. Let's see here. All right. That should be on its way over to yourself, Paul, and you can take it away when you are ready.
Sure. Let me see here.
There we go. I can see your screen now.
Okay, let me do kind of a pulse to see how much time we should spend on recapping this. How many of you have been on already had the overview of the Pro membership? Got a yes. Brad says no. Richard says, say it again. I know Richard has. The Pro membership. We're going to recap on that. Looks like most people are saying yes. Okay, Fred's already in. I'll do a bullet run through recap on it, and we'll get into our subject matter for the webinar here. We released for the SSO the promo on the Pro membership. So the Pro membership, when you get in, you're going to see a call to action for it. The Pro membership goes over what we have to offer. It goes over on the splash message. Pretty much it includes additional tools, role play, webinar, which we had last week, the monster metrics, lead gen software, promotions, monthly marketing materials, VIP support, and if you're needing reseller website or VIP marketing materials, those are all in the Pro membership. Whenever you log in, you're going to see the option to get in there. It's not mandatory to be a Pro member, but for those that have upgraded into it, we've been getting really good feedback on it. Some announcements, since most people are aware of it. If you do have an SEO campaign running, we're currently setting up the monster metrics for you for each SEO campaign that you do have running. We're a bit behind schedule to have them all finished by the end of March, but we're working on it. Monster metrics release has been great so far. There have been a couple bugs with it, but most of them have been dealt with already. If you ever run into any bugs, you can always use the report a problem button here on the right-hand side. But the monster metrics has been going over really well, and it's been really helping people out with their monitoring on that. So whenever you do sign up for Pro membership, you would have access into the SEO tools, the lead gen software, monster metrics, monthly marketing materials, VIP support, and more. So Pro membership recap. And Matt, I think you're answering questions if anyone's asking where the replay of that is. I'm not sure if you guys already have that up, Matt, the replay of that webinar, but that's probably a really good place to channel people into.
Yes, I will. I can post that.
So what I was going to be going over a little bit was we're going to be going over some SEO questions. It's going to be more of a casual webinar here. So I'm looking at user and attendee engagement on this, so please be vocal about your questions. So whenever you're out there and you're consulting a local-based service or product provider on their SEO, how many of you run into the subject matter of what different geolocations they can target? Like what different cities can they cover? Let's say that you happen to be in, let me get into Google Maps here. Let's say that you happen to be in, the client happens to be in a suburb outside of Kansas City, and they're saying that they want to target this city and that city and this city, and they also want to target Kansas City. How many of you run into that situation with clients when you're consulting them on a marketing campaign? Anyone ever run into that? Anybody? Jose says not yet. You will as soon as you start consulting very many clients. Let me show you. Let's take, for example, Liberty, Missouri. I know Richard's probably ran into this, right? Let's say if I go into Liberty, Missouri, and I hit OK on this, and let me scroll out a little bit. So Pamela says I have a client with 2 locations. Okay, so there's Liberty. Now, Liberty, Missouri doesn't have a tremendous population. What target audience do you think, for instance, a plumber and maybe even a dentist would want to hit in terms of the city if they're living in Liberty? Anyone? It's pretty obvious here. Matt, you might be my there we go, Fred. Thank you. I'll just have long delays of silence waiting for people to respond. Kansas City, right? Jose, is it says 15-mile radius. All right, so what's the problem? They're in Liberty, and they're going to be saying to you that maybe they want to hit Gladstone, maybe they want to hit Excelsior Springs, maybe they want to hit Independence, and maybe they say I want to go after Kansas City. And they want what? They want organic rankings for when people type in from those cities, or type in, like, for instance, let's say that I use dentist example. Let's say they're a dentist in Liberty, and they want to show up when someone types in Kansas City dentist, and let's say that maybe they want to show up whenever they type it into the Google Maps as well. How do you know where you can show up for a client if their physical location is only in Liberty? Anyone? Do you know where they can show up? Do you think that they can compete for Kansas City? Ben says no and yes. Thanks, Ben. That's clear. All right. Let me take you through. Fred says Kansas City will be hard. Okay, but how do you know that, Fred? Craig says have to have physical address. Well, this dentist has a physical address in only one location, and that's Liberty, Missouri, where the icon is. Mike says they need to add geographic details. Maybe that's enough, maybe it's not. They'll say yes, they can compete if they can be found online and are competitive. Well, are we talking organic or through Google Maps? So, for me, for a long time, I've been talking about, the necessity to focus on the client's physical location. I've always said dominate your physical, where your physical location is at, and then spread out from there. But you can use different marketing mediums to spread out. You can use PPC. You can use social media optimization, right? All right. So let's do a run through on this. And this is actually really important. So let's say that they want to go after Kansas City. So how would we test those waters? Let me show you. Let's put in dentist, Kansas City. And Kansas City is actually on the border of Missouri and Kansas. Liberty is in the Missouri side. So let's just put in Kansas City, Missouri, because that's more targeted, right? So if I put in dentist, why is it not? Oh, list all results. Kansas City, Missouri. So let's test this out. What you want to do is you want to scroll through now the Google Maps, and you want to see how deep do you need to go before it breaks from the city, Kansas City, to start including cities from outer locations and where from. Okay? So I'm scrolling through the first page of Google Maps results, and it's all Kansas City, Missouri. I'm going to go to the next page, and I'm going to start going quicker because we're going to go through quite a bit of these, actually. So then we went through Kansas City, and I'm on the second page, and that's the first one right down here, and that is Raytown, Missouri. And I do not know where Raytown, Missouri is, but we're going to check that out. So I've still got North Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri. I'm going to keep going. So I'm now on page 3. They're still all Kansas City, Missouri, and I have Raytown as well. So that's interesting. I've got Raytown in Kansas City, Missouri. So now I'm on page 4, and now I have Gladstone. So what do we have so far? We have page 2, Raytown, Missouri. Page 4, we have Gladstone, Missouri. Okay. So we've got Raytown and Gladstone. I'm going to keep going down, and I don't see anything else. I'm going to go to next. And what am I looking for? I'm looking for Liberty, right? Now we got Claycomo, Missouri, and now we're getting into Independence. So it's getting closer, but we're back on page 5 already. So the first 3 pages, for the most part, outside of Raytown, is being dominated by the Kansas City, Missouri. If I go into Raytown, Missouri, we're going to see where this is at. And I did not get a marker on that. And I think that it might be because Raytown might be a neighborhood. Let's see where we're at with that. Yeah, Raytown is right in the heart of Kansas City. So it's pretty much part of Kansas City. It's really more of a neighborhood. I'm guessing so is, let's check Gladstone. All right, there's Gladstone. So why would you think that Liberty didn't come up anywhere in the top 5 pages? The reason why Liberty didn't come up in the top 5 pages is because geographically it's distanced, right? So if you don't show it coming up in the top 5 pages, you know that you're not really going to have any sort of a competing chance to get inside of the Kansas City, Missouri arena on the Google Maps. Does that make sense to everyone? This is very, very basic, but most people miss this 100%. It's very easy when you're trying to consult a client, and let's say that they were in Liberty and they said, yeah, but I want to hit Gladstone, I want to hit Kansas City, Missouri. And you're out there reading the forums and what you can do, and people are saying, well, if you're optimizing enough, you're going to be fine in this and that, and you're going to run into problems, right? Fred's saying, yes, good information. How to figure this out is very, very simple. Now, can anyone give me a heads up? Where do you think that Dennis can rank outside of Liberty? What about Excelsior Springs? Or what about Gladstone? Do you think that those are legitimate options? And how are you going to test that? Let's check it out. So I'm going to check out Gladstone. So I'm going to go into Gladstone, and I'm going to start flipping through and see how far deep I get before I get into anything from Liberty. So I'm getting North Kansas City. Yeah, absolutely. Kansas City, Kansas City. I'm on page 2, still dominated by Kansas City, Missouri. So they're polling by preference. They're polling what? They're polling northern Kansas City even for Gladstone. They're not polling what's north of there for some reason. I'm still not seeing anything from Liberty or from Excelsior Springs. Claycomo, okay, but that's right in the heart by Raytown. Still nothing from Liberty. So even Gladstone is, they're giving by preference Kansas City, Missouri, which kind of makes sense because you saw Gladstone mixed in with the Kansas City, Missouri. So this tells you that by preference, if you're in Liberty and you're wanting to compete for Gladstone, you're primarily competing up against what? You're competing up against northern Kansas City, Missouri. Now, you might not have thought that whenever you're looking at the search results, because right now I'm on page 7 and I still have no Liberty. Do you think that I'll run into Liberty? Yeah, I'll run into Liberty eventually if I go far enough back here. But I'm already on page 8. I might as well give up. Let me scroll back on this map and show you again where the Liberty is at. Where? Oh, wait. What happened here? Gladstone, Missouri, St. Joseph, Lee Summit, Family. Liberty. Let me go back to Liberty, Missouri. So with Liberty, you know that for Gladstone, you're going to be competing with Northern Kansas City, so that's going to be difficult. What about Excelsior Springs? So then you would want to go in and the client says, well, what other cities could I go after? Because maybe it's possible that your client is already dominating Liberty and they want to go after Excelsior Springs. So I would go dentist, Excelsior Springs, Missouri. Let's get the list results, and let's see if Liberty is too far back, and let's see if where the geographic competition is coming for Excelsior Springs. So I'm going to start scrolling through these search results over here, and page 1 is all Excelsior Springs. I'm seeing Kearney, Missouri, and there we go. There's Liberty. So if your client is in Liberty and they ask you, can they compete for the Google Maps for Excelsior Springs, what would you say? You'd say yes, right? Because you did your check, because you know how to do a check. Now, if your client asks you if they could compete for Gladstone, you would say, no, that's not a good idea, right? So more and more, you want to make sure that you're focusing the marketing effort on the city that they're physically located in. Let me do a different, well, actually, on Liberty, though, Liberty, Missouri probably has a lot of results in it. You can do this exercise in reverse. If you want to do dentist Liberty, Missouri, and if you want to start combing through the results for dentist Liberty, Missouri, and when the search results break for Liberty and go into other cities, those are the other cities that Google is identifying to be the most relevant in terms of the geographical association that they're willing to display results to. So I would assume that when Liberty breaks, it's probably going to go into Excelsior Springs. So page 1 is all Liberty, and page 2 so far is all Liberty, and page 3, wow, page 3 is all Liberty, and page 4 is all Liberty. Wow, Liberty is really self-contained.
That is pretty amazing, Paul, because I just pulled up Liberty's population, and it's sitting right below 30,000, so it's not like it's huge. That's very interesting that there's that many results.
Yeah, but check this out. I mean, it breaks into Kansas City, Missouri, right out of Liberty, so. And it's still breaking into Kansas City, Missouri. The Claycomo and Gladstone is coming up, so. Now, vice versa, let's say that we went in and it was different. Let's say that you had maybe you're in Kansas City and you wanted to reach Liberty for something, you know, and of course if you go into the top page of Liberty, Missouri for dentists, the top 4 pages are all taken for Liberty, Missouri. That's probably not a market you're trying to break into. There's too many businesses there that are there for that geographic area, and you're not going to be able to just butt into them. But you can tell, I mean, if you're marketing for someone that's a very common business, then yeah, I mean, you really want to make sure that you're focusing your marketing efforts on their physical location. If you're marketing for someone that's not as popular of a business type, then the competition on the maps is not going to be as high. Like, for instance, if I wanted to put in Ford car dealership, Liberty, Missouri, I immediately get Kansas City, Excelsior Springs, Raytown, Independence, Buckner, Blue Springs, Missouri, Kansas City, Smithville, Missouri. So it's not dominated, right? So if you had a client that wants to show up for Liberty, Missouri as their car dealership, it's fair game if they're from Excelsior Springs, Raytown, Independence, Buckner, Blue Springs, Smithville, Lee Summit, and that's how you know. So it's a really simple exercise. It's really easy to do. I think a lot of times with your consulting that you're doing for clients, I think that people get caught up reading a lot of blogs and forums and news releases and webinars, right? And not enough time just looking at what is there And this simple exercise will always keep you trending on what you can and can't reach in terms of a geographic limitation. And this will help you out a lot to make sure that your campaigns stay on track. And this is also something you can talk to your marketing consultant about. This kind of training is the type of training that I do with the marketing team every single day, your dedicated marketing consultants that you have. So does that change anything for anyone? Does anyone have any feedback on that or any questions on that? Is anyone like, oh no, I just had a consulting session with a lead last week and I told him something differently? Or maybe you're in there right now on Google Maps saying, let me go check this out. Now, organic's a little bit different, whereas organic can be manipulated a little bit more. This is maps, but organic is getting more tailored towards people with maps results, because the websites that do have Google Maps tagged to it, although in the search results for organic, let me show you this. Let me give you an example of organic for Liberty, Missouri dentist. On the organic side for Liberty, Missouri dentist, you're going to notice that unless it's a directory style, almost all these are going to be located in Liberty. Even down here, whenever we get into it, libertydentist.com, Liberty Park Dental, and most all of these will have Jackson Family Dental. Online, this is in Liberty. Almost all of these are in Liberty if I was going to go into them. I can go ahead and click into a couple of these just so that I can show you. Kearney, Missouri, actually. There's a good example of one. Shoal Creek Dental Care. So on the organic side, it can be manipulated a little bit more to where you can get into Liberty. But the interesting thing about the organic side is that you'll notice that King Dental Care, actually that one's in Liberty, but this one is in Kearney, Missouri, and this one is in Kansas City, Missouri. Although let's go and check this, because this one is in Liberty. That one, oh, look at that. They have dual locations. See what I'm saying there by Google understanding where their physical address is at? So that's Jackson Family Dental, right? Let me show you. Let me. What was that? That's Jackson Family Dental. So whenever I go in, where was that? Is that Shoal Creek? Jackson Family Dental Online. This one. Okay, so they are optimized for the Liberty. Maybe it was this one. Flintlock Dental. It says Kansas City, Missouri. Let's go to their contact us and see if their physical location is only in Kansas City, Missouri. They are Kansas City, Missouri, and that was Flintlock. Where's Flintlock? And they're optimizing for Liberty. So organically, they're able to slide in there, whereas on the maps, they absolutely cannot, because the top 4 pages are packed. So through organic manipulation, you can contend to a certain degree for geographic areas that you're not physically located in. On the maps arena, you want to be very careful with making sure that you go in and check. But still, even on the organic side, if Flintlock Dental does have a Google Maps, which I'm sure that they do, they're going to be constrained based on how far away they are from that physical location. The rest of these are probably Liberty. This one's also North Kansas City, Missouri. So they're still going to be close. Now, outside of that, what we were going to also talk about is domain names. So how many of you have had the client ask you what's the best domain name to target, whether it's a .com versus a .net versus a .biz?
I know.
You get asked this much?
Yeah, I was going to say, I know they're out there, because we get that question also, like you're on your second line there. Is it, do I do libertydentist.com or do I do drjonesmith.com? So, yeah, this is a question that's, I think everybody should perk your ears up and hear some real world, research and results that Paul can share with us.
Yeah, this one doesn't have a this one does not have a straightforward answer, really. So as per Google, they do not give preference to a .com over a .biz over a .net. And the .info, I'm not sure on that one so much because .info is, if you had a .info, I don't know why if you're a business you would ever pick up a .info. But in terms of definitely the .biz, .net, I'll change the .info to a .org. As per Google, they do not give preference over these, but users give preference to the .com. So the domain extension on the .net, .com, .biz, the problem runs into a branding issue. If you're going to pick up a .net or a .biz or a .org and the .com already exists, and if it's a prominent domain, you're going to have some issues on branding. One, people are going to look at the business card and they're naturally going to type in the .com, and if you have the .net, a lot of people are going to go to a .com. There's going to be confusion. Also, whenever you use that, that means that if your domain name is your company name, right, and say you're a .net and if the .com does exist, then does that mean that if your domain name's the same and if you're both using the same company name that there's going to be branding conflict? One of the things that I always tell to people as much as possible to try to eliminate any brand competition. So for instance, Walmart does not have brand competition because there's no one else out there with the name Walmart that people get confused by. If your name was local drugstore, then you might have a lot of brand competition. There's a lot of people with whatever local drugstore in their name, and it might be confusing when someone does a brand search. So whenever someone goes in and just sets up or types in your company name. Also, if Google's able to identify that your brand by the exact wording on it, then they're able to identify when you're mentioned without a link in a lot of different articles and publications online. But if you have brand competition because your company name is common or because there's another site out there with the exact same company name that's been around longer than you because you bought the .net even though they have the .com, then you're going to have what I consider to be brand conflict. And is that necessarily a ranking dilemma organically? Not necessarily, but where Google's focusing more and more on brand, you want to make sure that your brand is identifiable, and having a bit of a unique company name is going to be beneficial for you. So I recommend that if someone already has picked up the .com, if it is a pre-existing site that is powerful, and this goes with about, really, it could go vice versa. If they have the .net and it's already a powerful site and .com's for sale, then you want to make sure, then you want to probably think a lot more about if you really want to pick up that .net, or if there's something that you could buy that would be more unique that's available with a .com on it. Does anyone have any feedback on that? Any situations you've ever been in with a client where they had a .net or the .biz or the .org, the .com existed, and you ran into any complications with that? Anybody? We definitely have our own internal situations with that, but I can't just bring those up. Of course, we're a white label partner, but I have some really good case studies on that internally. Fred says, shouldn't businesses buy all of the different domain names to protect their brand? Well, the primary ones, yeah, definitely, they should. Okay, so the main one that people talk about is this one. Company domain name versus keyword domain. Now on this one, for the keyword domain, a lot of times, let's say that, for instance, let's say that it was, for instance, one like this one. King's Pride Family Dentist Street. Let's say that that's their company name, and they're located, for example, in Kansas City, but instead they buy the domain name as advised by their marketing provider, kansascitydentist.com. Which one would you recommend between these two, King's Pride Family Dentistry.com? So this is really the two that we're talking about. And this is the situation that a lot of you face on an ongoing basis. Do I pick up the keyword optimized domain that's not their company name, or do I pick up the company name domain name? Craig says the first one, the keyword optimized domain. Anyone else? Pamela says both. Well, Fred says King's Pride Family Dentistry. Jose says keyword optimized. Come on. Anyone else have any more shouts out? James says first one. Val says second one. We're looking like we're about a 50-50 split on this. Well, Mike broke the 50-50 split. Okay. So more people are definitely saying go for the keyword optimized one. Is anyone familiar with the Google EMD update that rolled out in 2012? Does anyone know what that is? Google EMD update? Let me bring this up because this was actually addressed in a It's really difficult to stay up to date with all of the Google updates that are going on out there, and one of the most difficult ones to stay up to date with is the updates that are older that people kind of forget about. But this is one that doesn't go away. So I'm going to put some links in here to the entire audience. And you can read about this, especially if you gave a shout out to that you should go with the keyword optimized one. You want to think twice about that. So here's one of the things. Is it bad to have a keyword optimized domain name? No, it's not. It's not necessarily bad at all. If your company name is completely separate from the keywords in the keyword optimized domain, like for instance if it was King's Pride Kansas City Dentist, that's like a pseudo keyword optimized domain name because it has King's Pride in it. Most people would just go with kansascitydentist.com if they were going to try to get a keyword optimized domain. But if your keyword optimized domain is different from your company name, you want to be careful with that. And one thing that you definitely can't have is you don't want someone that has both of these. Because if they got King's Pride Family Dentistry and they have Kansas City Dentist, and let's say they're putting their marketing efforts into this one, but this is really their company branded website, you can run into some pretty heavy brand conflict with that. Now, if you get a client that comes in and they're on a keyword optimized domain name to start with, and you look at their rankings and you see that they do not have a company website that might be conflicting with their brand, and they're coming in with a keyword optimized domain and they already have some good rankings going on, then they're probably okay. What the EMD update was, it was about Google cracking down on exact keyword match domain names in the search results. Why? Because it started to get to where, especially in 2012, whenever you would do a search for a keyword in Google, that all of your search results were keyword optimized domains. Matt, did you recognize that at all? I don't know if very many marketers out there recognize that, but it got to where you go into Google, you do a search, and it's like the whole first page results is full of nothing but that keyword you searched for in a domain name format with dashes in between it and a .biz or a .net or a .org, and it was really annoying. It was like everyone was getting beat out by keyword optimized domain names because Google was putting a lot of emphasis on that. Anyone notice that?
Yeah, I definitely did, and a lot of those results tended to be low quality, just trying to almost even drive traffic to a PPC site, you know, where they're trying to get AdWords revenue or something. So yeah, it was a mess, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. So now if I put in like Liberty, Missouri Dentist, you don't see the domination by the keyword optimized domain names anymore at all. Jackson Family Dental Online, King Dental Care, FlintlockDental.com, ShoalCreekDentalCare.com. Here's one. This is LibertyDentalCareMissouri.com. That is a keyword optimized domain, and we'll take a look at that one. It might have been around for a while. It might already, and hey, for all I know, maybe that's their company name. When a company name overlaps with the keyword that they want to go after, you're golden. I'll say that one more time. When the company name overlaps the keyword you want to go after, you're golden. If their company name happens to be Liberty Family Dentist, and that's the main keyword they want to go after, you are 100% golden if that's their company name. When the brand overlaps the keyword they want to go after, in terms of the exact name, you're golden. So this is Liberty Dental Care. That's interesting. Is that really their name? Let's check this out. Sounds a bit fishy to me. How about you? where is their contact us page? About us. Based on the logo, it looks like that's their company name, but let's see if we can't track down their, there we go, Liberty Dental Care. Click here to view map and instructions. I think that's their name. So, yeah, it is. Their name is Liberty Dental Care. So, is this a keyword optimized domain name? Not by my definition. Why? Because it's their company name. So that's not. Whenever I call a keyword domain name, it means that the domain name is not their company name. That's what makes it a keyword domain name. If the company name happens to be the keyword they want to go after, that's still a company domain name, right? So on this one, on the first page results organically, there are no keyword domain names dominating for Liberty. Let me move on to the third page and see if we have any. And I'll come back to page 1 as well. Come on. LibertyDentist.net. That is a good example of one. They're also sitting on page 3. LibertyDentalPlan.com. That's interesting. Let me go back to page 1 since I didn't realize that I was on page 2. And we'll see if we have any keyword domain names. LibertyDentist.com we do. Seaport Family Dentistry, they're on LibertyDentist.net. That's a good example. But let's type in Seaport Family Dentistry and see if they have a conflicting domain. And they don't. So they don't have, that is their company site. They didn't set up a brand site. They went with this and they've stuck with it, and they probably had it for a long time. So it's considered in Google's eyes a high quality keyword domain name. And Liberty Dental Plan is actually their company name. And at LibertyDentist.com, their company name looks to be Liberty Dentist. Let's see if we can confirm that. Yeah. So they're using the company name Liberty Dentist. Anyone see a trend here? You see how the ones that are standing out right now, aside from this, the only one I found to be the Seaport, which they've probably been around for a long time. The keyword domain names are not operating the way that they used to be. And I'll take us back to the, let me pull back open this search engine land. Where was that? Let me get back to the search engine land update. So in this update that came out from Search Engine Watch, and again, this was back in 2012, but their exact words were low. Last week, Google's head of web spam app cuts announced a small upcoming algorithm change meant to reduce the amount of low-quality exact match domains in the search results. So what you're trying to identify whenever you're consulting a client on whether or not to go with a keyword domain name is, what is it that you're trying to figure out? You're trying to figure out what? What does Google mean when they say low quality exact match domains in search results? How I interpret it is this. If you've had a pre-existing site that doesn't have a conflicting company site and it is an exact match keyword domain, and that's what you're leveraging your marketing on, and you already have had good marketing efforts put into it, that they grandfathered you in and said, you're good, you've been around for a while, you've been marketing on this site, this is this website that you're clearly using for your company, you don't have a separate website set up that says, for example, Seaport Family Dentistry, you're using LibertyDentist.net, that's all you have been using, all your directories match it, and we'll go ahead and consider you a high quality exact match domain. Okay, so they rolled that out. But what about moving forward from there? Moving forward from there, is it going to be more difficult to be considered off the start a high quality keyword domain name? Does Google consider you high quality when you very first start out? No, it takes you time to earn that trust, right? So in short, you need to be careful with the exact keyword match domain names because they're not what they used to be. You used to be, if you had it, you had all this power in your hands, and that's just not true anymore. If you're going to be consulting on it for a client, and unless they come in front of you and they already look like this guy, which is Seaport Family Dentistry at libertydentist.net, and they already have really good rankings in their marketing, do not consult them to go with the keyword domain name. Consult them to go with what? Seaport Family Dentistry as a domain name and push their brand, right? Push their brand. Don't push their keyword anymore. Anyone have any questions on that? This webinar is just about revisiting some of the basics that I see people missing when they're consulting on SEO, and it comes up a lot. What domain name should I get? Should I get a .net? Should I get the .com? Not paying attention to brand conflict, or user habit of going to a .com, or taking into consideration brand new uniqueness. Clients asking you, can you market for this city and that city and this city and that city for me, and not knowing how to answer their question, thinking that it's just a matter of how high quality your SEO is on everything, when that's not necessarily the truth of the matter. And also, should I get a keyword optimized domain name, or should I just go with my company name and my domain name? And not knowing what to say because it's difficult to find the information that's out there. But I like to take the time to go through the results and just show you what it looks like now in search results with keyword exact match domains versus what it used to look like, and it's a different ballgame. And if you wanted to, maybe dig in deeper to it, which I don't think you need to, you could just take my word on this one. This is all true. But if you wanted to dig in deeper to it and say, I'm not sure about that, just go back and read all about the Google EMD update and read about how exact match domains are being treated, and it should all come into play for you. But it's pretty much everything that I summarized for you already. Joseph says, a dentist can be generic. However, for a profession such as a lawyer, some are malpractice, etc., isn't the keyword a better name search? Well, let's see. So, well, let's type in malpractice attorney, Kansas City, and see what comes up. Is this thing going to load for me? So, Kansas City accident injury attorneys is in the top, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The other 6 have no keyword optimization whatsoever in the domain name or in their title for that matter. Let's look down here on the organic and see how that's being handled. So far, that's the only one on page 1, right? Let's go on to page 2. So far, no keyword in the domain name, so I'm on page 2. There we go. Down towards the page, end of page 2, I've got injury attorneys m.com. That's interesting. So that's at the end of page 2. So far we've only ran into 2 out of 20. And so now I'm going through on page 3. And 0 on page 3. So we're 2 out of 30. And I'll start at page 4. We're 2 out of 40. All right, let me go through 50. We already clicked on that one. He's ranking again. There we go. That puts us 3 out of 50 on keyword optimized domains. Okay, so this is Kansas City accident injury attorneys, but look at what they did here. This is a news site, and they branded their company name to the keyword that they're going after. So this one's unique in the sense that, let me go to the contact us and verify. they're utilizing Kansas City Accident Injury Attorneys as their company name. So that's not a keyword domain in my opinion. They made it their company name, which means in their directories and everything, or there's a news site, this is standing out as their actual name. So in Google eyes, this isn't necessarily a keyword domain name. So that puts us down to, what would I say, 3 out of 50 now? So this would be Schmidt Mulholland LLC, Personal Injury Attorneys, and this is at injuryattorneysm.com. So this is a keyword optimized domain name, and it looks like a really nice site too. So that's the 3 out of 50. Kansas City Injuryfirm.com, that's conflicting with the company name, so that's a legitimate 2 of the 3 out of 30. That was 3 out of 50 that we went through. So that's what I have to say about it. So even on something like medical malpractice, whenever you say, hey, wouldn't it be better if I went out there and got whatever medical malpractice Kansas City? Well, I would say just look at the search results. Those sites that do have those domains, those are not low-level sites. It's not someone that popped up a small site, right? Let me open that for you again, because this is something I want to point out to you. Does this look like a pop-up site, like something that someone just popped up? Or does this look like a really legitimate website? Is that a big site? Does that thing look massive to you? It is. Is this unique content? I don't know. But this looks like a major site to me. I don't know if this is all unique content or not, but I'll tell you one thing. Usually whenever people pop up like a keyword optimized domain name, they have their typical company name, domain, right? And then they set up these little keyword optimized domain names. This is not something that someone went in and set up a little keyword optimized domain name. When Matt Cutt said low quality exact match domains and search results, I'll bet that this has been around for a long time and it looks like an absolutely massive site. In fact, if I wanted to show you how massive the site was, I would go in and do site : Kansas City Injury. Whoa, that's not in Google. Boom. How many pages do you think this site has? So what are we doing now? Now we're going to investigate the 3 out of 50, and we're going to do 2 out of 50 that actually showed up in the search results that was keyword specific in the domain name. And this one has 289 indexing pages off of their site. So, okay, if you want to set up a keyword optimized domain name outside of your client site and let it sit around for quite some time and really focus on that and pump it up to 300 pages of powerful content, all right, but that's no small pop-up site. That's a big deal. And whenever you have 47 out of 50 sites coming up that were not keyword optimized domains, would you rather put the effort into the primary company site or pop up a keyword optimized domain? It's up to you, really. But I'd go with their company site. What was the other one? Kansas City Accident Injury Attorneys. This one came up as well, but I said it wasn't necessarily a keyword optimized domain because it's also their company name. But I think it was actually on page 3 or so that I came across a different one. Was it page 4? Go back to page 2. Yeah. Injury Attorneys SM, I think that's what we already looked at. Again, this one is no small site. This thing's a massive, massive website. So, point being, even in something as niche geared, which attorneys popping up very keyword specific domains to go after their different practice areas. Now when you search through the search results, even on this example, and you see that 47 out of the 50 on the top 5 pages are company names that are not keyword optimized in the domain name, does that make you think twice about the power of a keyword optimized domain name? And whenever you do click on the keyword optimized domain names that show up and you look at them and say, is this something that would be small and easy to set up? Or is this something that's like 300 pages plus with a tremendous amount of work put into it? Or, for example, this one, which is Kansas City Accident Injury Attorneys, which you say, wow, that's a keyword optimized domain name. And look, those guys are kicking butt. I should go get a keyword optimized domain name because that's how you do it. That is how you do it if you have 4,510 pages into it in a big news site. Does that make sense? Okay, so do your analysis and don't just read what's out there and what people are saying, because all you got to do, comb through the search results if you're not sure, look at it, and if you see a keyword optimized domain and so you say my strategy is going to be to do this because that's what's going to work. Keep in mind, EMD update hit back in 2012. So look into the keyword optimized domain name when you find it and see if that's a prominent domain from back in the day maybe that people have been working on for years and was more grandfathered in, right? I had a unique, the reason why I'm doing this presentation, I ran into this situation. I can't use their name because it was, yeah, it's through a partner. But they had a keyword domain name, and this had the company name, which is different all over the website. So let's say that your client has a keyword domain name, their company name is different, and it says their company name all over the website. When you type in their company name into the search results, wouldn't you expect to see their website come up, even though it's a keyword optimized domain name? Am I losing anyone on that one? You have a keyword optimized domain name, their company name is different from their domain name, but on the keyword optimized domain name, that website, it says the company name all over it, right? When you type in that company name, wouldn't you expect the website to come up? I would. It's a no-brainer, right? Like for instance on this, let me give you an example. Seaport Family Dentistry, right? Their domain name is libertydentist.net. If I type in Seaport Family Dentistry, do you think libertydentist.net is going to come up? It better, right? Let's check it out. So I'm gonna Google Seaport Family Dentistry, libertydentist.net. There's no brand conflict there. I had this exact same situation, and I typed in the company name, and guess what? Their website didn't come up at all. And why? They had also a company name, domain name. And that company name, domain name came up first with 3 more pages of results, and their keyword optimized domain name did not even show up. Mind-boggling. That's when I realized how serious the brand conflict is starting to become. Now, this one, like I was showing you, Seaport was doing well with this domain, so they've been grandfathered in on this in my opinion. But keep in mind, they do not have a conflicting brand website whatsoever. There is no seaportfamilydentistry.com at all. I'll look through these search results and see if I can find it. Or let me see if let's see if there's a, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a seaportfamilydentistry.com. Dentistry.com. You see any? No. There is no brand conflict for them whatsoever. So, again, this conversation is not perfectly straightforward. There's not just a right answer and a wrong answer. It's very scenario given, and I think that's one of the reasons why people have like a black and white side to the conversation of .net versus .com, and a black and white yes or no conversation to yes, go keyword optimized, or no. But the reality is that it's very situational. Can you target that, other locations outside of your geographic physical location? A lot of people just give a black and white answer, yes or no. It's a conversation to be had, which is why we're now going on an hour into this webinar just to give you the answer on all 3 of these, but also to show you how to check it yourself, right? Jose says, I've been told that an SEO-optimized site for a certain niche, dentist, can contain the same content and it not affect rankings. Is this correct? Google it. Check it out. So, I get paid. I don't do it very often because I'm a really busy guy, but when bigger companies through partners come through and they need consulting to answer a question like that, If I really want to give a legitimate answer, I charge a lot of money just to answer that question. Like, for instance, hey, on my e-commerce site, I'm feeding products in, or I'm feeding any data into my site that's replicated off of other information from the outside world. What do I do with it? Do I display it as duplicate content? Do I take it down whenever it's no longer relevant? Do I archive it? Do I index it? On a big site like that, I charge between $5,000 and $10,000 to answer that question. And I'll answer it after I put in about 30 hours of research looking. I don't go into blogs. I don't go into webinars. I don't pay for any sort of education. I stay completely away from search engine land and search engine news. Where do I go to do my research? Google. And I don't Google research. I'm looking at Google. I'm looking at search results. Just like I just did for you, right? And your brain probably clicked quite a bit whenever I was doing this, because you're probably like, oh, okay. Well, all I have to do is show you, and you can't contest it. That's the way that it is right now, and that's what you need to know. So keep in mind a lot of the things that you have questions about, and a lot of the things that the client's going to ask you questions about in consulting. I think if you start thinking about doing a simple search and just analyzing results a little bit on your own, I think you'll find that you can answer your own questions. And in a dynamic industry like SEO, and everything's always changing, sometimes it's easier just to do a search and look at what's happening on the results and kind of get into a flow of being able to do that than staying up to date with all the news that's out there. I do my research on it and find my findings on it, and then when I find something that's conflicting, I'll do my research to see if it's referenceable on my conclusion, if that makes sense. Anyone else have any feedback on that? Jose says, that's proper, big thanks. Yeah. Not that you can't trust what other people are saying, but what I do recommend is that when you do read news and research and publications, just check it out. Is it in theory? Is it not? You know, for instance, there's a lot of news and hype that, you know, been coming out, and it's always been coming out. People have said the death of SEO, the birth of whatever new marketing, and it's like it's still the same thing. You know, you got any data on that? Do a search. SEO's not going anywhere anytime soon. There's a lot of hype out there. The more hype that people broadcast on whatever it is they're talking about, the more you're going to pay attention to it, the more you're going to react to it, the more you're going to read them and follow them. And, you know, even some of my emails, I'll put some hype out there. But I like to back it with some examples, right? Mike says, way too much info, best to check. Right, right. But, I mean, come on, what are some of the basics? The domain name, keyword optimized domain name, what geographic targets can you hit for your client? I mean, those are some of the basics that you've got to be looking at, because it can put you down a path that's not going to be easy to come back on your marketing. So those are just some basic tools that I think everyone needs to have and needs to remember about checking out the search results and understanding it a little bit more, and especially on the keyword optimized domain names. Right now, unless they come in like that libertydentist.net, unless they come in and they're blinging on their rankings, push brand and make sure that their brand is being pushed from starting with their domain name. One more thing, and then we'll let Matt wrap this up. There's one more thing that you can run into. I have direct case studies on this again, but I can't talk about them. So let me give you an example. I'm trying to think of one. Harry'sBestSeafood.com, for example. This isn't a very good example. Let me use a different one. Harry'sRoofing.com. Now, Harry's Roofing also does kitchen remodeling. They do new home building. They do gutter repair. They do gutter cleaning. and they do a lot of driveway paving. What else? Sorry. They might even do landscaping. All right, so when if your client has a company name, and a company name, typically you have two portions to a company name if you're ever going to analyze it from a brand standpoint. Okay, and let's give this one for example. This is what was that one? Dr. Susan B. Dentistry. And then we could have we could also have okay, so let's look at this in terms of if this was like a domain name as well. But we'll assume that the domain name is the exact same as their company name. So in a company name, you have two portions to company names. You have a uniqueness factor and you have a descriptor, typically. This is very important to pay attention to, and it's so basic, but everyone overlooks it. So you have a uniqueness factor and you have a descriptor, okay? Now, on drsusanbdentistry.com, your uniqueness factor is Dr. Susan B, right? And specifically Susan B. That's a uniqueness factor. You got to think about it from a robot that's analyzing something. Susan B is a uniqueness factor. Dentistry is the descriptor. So you get what I'm saying here. Now, Teeth Zula, if that's what it was, this whole thing, since that's one word and that's their company name, that's nothing but a uniqueness factor. There's no descriptor in there. Walmart.com, the whole thing is a uniqueness factor. There is no descriptor in that company name. John's Wholesale Foods.com, the uniqueness factor is John's. Wholesale Foods is the descriptor. All right. Everyone pick up on that? Now, when the descriptor to your company name, and assuming that your company name is your domain name, the descriptor should be about what? This is important. Give me some shout-outs about this. The descriptor should be about what? It should be describing your business, category, or overall product or service set, right? Overall. That's very, very important. And it's going to be rare that you run into anything otherwise, but if I get into this more, if instead of John's Wholesale Foods, for whatever reason, this was named, I don't know, so John's Wholesale Foods started out as John's Hot Dogs, right? His grandfather started it, and they're proud of their company name. But over time, they started offering all kinds of food. But his name was Hot Dogs, johnshotdogs.com. And they started offering all kinds of other food. He's going to have problems ranking for all of his different types of foods unless he's established to be more of a directory site. Susan B. Dentistry. Dentistry needs to describe what she does. Now, what if instead of saying dentistry as the descriptor here, that let's say that it says orthodontist, SusanBOrthodontist.com. If this is the case, do you think that she will struggle for ranking for the dentistry keywords? The answer is yes. Even with the best SEO on dentist keywords, she's going to struggle. Google does have flags where they pay attention to things above just your SEO. The basics need to be in alignment, like your physical location. Like if your company name does have a descriptor in it, it better be about your business category, or your overall services. If you're going to put the descriptor in your business name that's a specific something you offer but not overall describing everything, you're going to have problems. Yeah, so like Mike says, so you can get too cute and paint yourself into a corner. Yeah, like check this out, harrysroofing.com. He also does kitchen remodeling, new home building, gutter repair, gutter cleaning, driveway paving, and landscaping. He could run into issues. He's primarily established in Google as his descriptor here. So you got to pay attention to that. Why do I bring this up? Because I've ran into issues like this, and ran into issues like this, and I ran into issues like this, where I've seen the same campaign bounce between different SEO companies. I've seen people try to troubleshoot it a lot, and when the descriptor in their company name, the descriptor in the company name, and their company name is the domain name, when the descriptor is about something specific that they offer, a very specific service, but that's not what they want. Like for instance, if you were a sports rehab clinic, and you wanted to rent, and your name was whatever company name, sportsrehabclinic.com, but what's the primary keyword that you want to show up for? Chiropractor. But your company name and your domain name is company name Sports Rehab Clinic, but you want to show up as chiropractor. Well, Google would probably say, well, if you're a chiropractor, why don't you say that? Why would you state your specialty if that's not what you're specializing in, and your company name if that's not what you want me to pay the most attention to? So these are just some basics that you want to be aware of. Also, from a branding standpoint, unless you're someone like Wholesale Foods, if you're going to come out with like Best Wholesale Foods, for example, there's no uniqueness factor in the entire domain name. The whole thing's descriptors. So you better be able to push that brand real hard, because there's nothing unique about it from a wording standpoint. So these are just some of the basics to marketing, and it comes down to branding, but it comes down to understanding the basics to how Google's evaluating your domain name, your brand conflict, whether you're a low-quality exact match keyword domain or a high-quality one, brand conflict through domain name versus company name, and if the descriptor in your company name, which would be matching your domain name, is describing something other than what you primarily want to be fronting yourself as, you're going to have a problem. And it's all kind of common sense stuff, but the proof is in when you would do an actual study on it. This particular study here, I can testify that I do have two very extensively researched case studies on this exact conflict, particularly this type of one, and the negative impact behind that. You have to be very careful. Moshi says, Moshe, sorry, I already struggled with your name. Moshi. Moshi, can I read out loud what you're asking me? If I can use the details or not, I don't know. It seems... okay, so like Moshe's asking for if bobswellness.com, they offer nutrition and other stuff like massage and chiropractor, will it work? And nutrition. I think it can. I think that it can, because the wellness is umbrella over chiropractor, nutrition, and massage. But let me be very clear about this. When Google's analyzing particularly local results, what's one of the things that they first identify? If you're the Google robot and you're putting down through a filter, someone searched for, let's say Bob's Wellness was in Liberty, Missouri. Someone goes in Liberty, Missouri, and they do a search for one of the things that they offer. Google's going to send their bot down, and they're going to identify the location, and then they're going to identify the business category that the search applies to, right? Then they're going to identify what sites are most closely related to that business category, and then they're going to display the results, search results based on the quality of the listings that they found. Did I say business category? Yeah. So let's break this up and just do a quick exercise. What are the business categories for chiropractor? We have massage. We have nutrition. What are the business categories for chiropractor? Anyone? Chiropractor is a business category, right? It is. What about massage? What's the business category? Healthcare? No, not really. I mean, yeah, okay, it could be healthcare, but that's pretty distant. Yeah, it could be rehabilitation as well. Good, thank you. But what do you have mixed up with rehabilitation? You know, what kind of rehabilitation? You know, you have drug rehab, healthcare. Okay, good, thank you. I missed that one. Physical therapy. Okay, I think this is in pretty good order here. So chiropractor, we've got chiropractor, physical therapy, rehab, and healthcare. All right, cool. Massage. What do we got here? What are our business categories in order of priority? Craig says, happy times. Okay, Craig. Well, I censored that response, by the way. Bruce says massages, spa. I agree. Spas are typically where it's at. It could be massage as well. Massage can be a business category. Any other ones? Relaxation, not quite. Sports medicine, that's more towards chiropractor. Rehab, but I would probably put sports medicine. But sports medicine is a specialty, so stress relief, it's not really a business category. It's more of a descriptor. Spa, massage. What's another business category for a massage? Spa, massage. Yeah, that's most of it. Sometimes salon, maybe a salon, maybe. Okay, nutrition. What kind of nutrition? Nutrition, when you think of nutrition, what do you think of? Nutrition products, right? So now when we're into nutrition products, what kind of a business category are we talking about? Now we're talking about products, not services. We're into different business category, right? Nutritional products. Business category, not descriptors. Business categories. You're in town, you're going to go buy some nutritional products. What's the business category you're looking for? Usually a store on it as well. Health foods? No, not foods really. It could be supplements, could be a business category, could be something like health store. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at a business category list. Vitamin store, right. What's the herbal supplements? So anyways, good enough. So this is a long way to answer a question. Let's go back and look at this one more time after thinking about it a little bit. There we go. Thank you. Natural food store. Bob'sWellness.com offers massage, chiropractor, and nutrition. So you think about that a little bit, and you think about that whenever you're marketing for a client, what you want to try to focus on is one particular business category. Marketing is difficult. preferably all products or services you're marketing that client for will be underneath one business category. Unless you're going to break out of that and get into multiple business categories. Now you're diversifying, right? Why? Because whenever you try to rank for your chiropractor terms, who are you up against? All of the people that have these business categories in order of priority and centralized focus on their entire website in that order of priority. Is that a problem? Is that competition? Yeah, because this would only be a third of your focus on Bob's Wellness, for example. Now, on massage, who are you up against? You're up against everyone with a primary business category, a spa or massage or maybe salon, and their whole site is about that. Now you want to rank for nutrition products. Whoops. And what are you up against there? You are up against all the stores that are just for supplements or health store or natural food store locally, and they primarily have those business categories. So in order of relevance, you're going to have a hard time because you're real diversified, right? Fred says, what about name tags using keywords to describe the business for SEO campaigns? Yeah, you can do that. With SEO, you can do a lot of different things, but is it advisable? Is it difficult? Look, SEO isn't the easiest thing in the world, especially if you're starting out with a client. If Bob's Wellness offers chiropractic care, you know what I would recommend for them? Set up a website focused entirely on your chiropractic services, right? And that should be a different division to me. I mean, if they have chiropractic services, massage services, and nutrition products, and they're small, okay, but what do they primarily want to front themselves as? You know what I mean? Like bobswellness.com or Bob's Wellness, okay, yeah, you could do that, but if you're going to go to them and say, listen, you do massage, but if you're a chiropractor, are you doing massage for relaxation? I mean, really? Would you mix those two together? I don't know if that's just a good business idea. Sometimes businesses fail when, on the conceptualization of the business, a chiropractor can also do car washes. They can shine your shoes. A chiropractic center could do anything that they would want to do on an additional service. As a business owner, you need to understand that the services that you're offering need to have a certain alignment with what you do. If you're offering massage, this better be changed to something that's consistent with your business model, and it better be sport massage. Now, are we in alignment with what a chiropractor would be doing? Can I get a yes or no? Did that change everything? Is that a spa? No. Is that a massage parlor? No. Is that a salon? No, it's not. Make sense? Nutritional products. Okay, but would you go and market those nutritional products? No. No. You want to sell nutritional products online and get the word out there and get traffic on them? Fine. Go set up a store that's e-commerce, that's not underneath a chiropractor, that offers nutritional products. Otherwise, as a chiropractor on your online site, if you want to mention that I also offer these nutritional products, that's fine. But are they going to take off and contend with the supplement store and the health store and the natural food store in town, and is that an SEO battle that they want to fight? Absolutely not. No. Or spin off another site and go after all of that and build it up and make it legitimate, right? At the end of the day, what are they? They're a chiropractor. And what do they need to lead with? Boom. Did you just simplify the direction of the marketing campaign and give the client some business consulting and say you need to pick and choose your battles in your marketing, and after going round and round with you on everything that you do, I've now identified that you're a chiropractor. And that's what we're going to call you, and that's what we're going to market you as. Make sense? So yeah, some of these things take a little bit of running around to chase it down, what's the best answer to it, but sometimes you got to give the client some business consulting to align their marketing direction. Sometimes you got to tell them no, and sometimes you got to say yes on some things, and sometimes you got to say, well, it's the majority of what you need to be doing, sports massage. And can we front with that? Keep it in the business category so that you can contend. Now, if there's no other massage salons in town, or very few of them, could they go with two business categories and probably do really well? Yeah. But if you're going to go into Google Maps and do a search for massage, and you're going to see all these salons and spas and just people that specialize in just relaxation massages coming up, no. Nick says, I'm struggling to help a local divorce family criminal attorney, small office, whose business is his name, that is located in a small suburban community. He gets business from all over the county and surrounding counties and multiple cities. His current marketing is with another provider, and their website ads in their directory system and phone book, and when using their pay-per-click system. I don't know, Nick, that domain name that you just brought up, it looks pretty keyword optimized to me. I don't know if you mind me actually looking at that right now or disclosing those details on the exact domain name that you're talking about. If so, all right, well, let me pull it up then. This is a question about Davis County law.ut.com. And I don't know if they're having problems with their rankings or not. I don't know. Davis County law.ut.com. So yeah, he has a conflicting company name with his domain name is daviscountylaw-ut.com, so he's got a keyword-optimized domain name. His company name is not the same. His company name is Michael D. Murphy, it looks like. I'm going to go to his Contact Us page to verify that. Immediately I'm picking up on problems because I immediately see a brand conflict in here. His company name doesn't say law or LLC or anything inside of it, so I'm going to take and type in Michael D. Murphy and see if I can identify what Google's looking at around his brand. I'm looking at brand conflict right now. So I've got Michael D. Murphy, and it's also a pretty small website. He's in Kaysville, Utah. And Michael D. Murphy, there we go. I think I just found the problem. See what I'm saying? So we've got daviscountylaw-ut.com, company name Michael D. Murphy. When I type in Michael D. Murphy, what better I see? I better see what coming up in the search results. How about daviscountylaw-ut.com? That's his domain name. I don't know if on clean sharing on the browser you can see this. That's the domain name. Company name equals Michael D. Murphy equals brand conflict. Unless I type this in, unless I type in Michael D. Murphy, and the first thing that I see should be what? If there's no brand conflict, the first thing that I better see is this. So I go into the search results and I type in Michael D. Murphy. You see anything missing? This better be the first thing that I see if there's no brand conflict between his company name and domain name. I type in Michael D. Murphy. Do you see the website? daviscountylaw-ut.com? No, no, no. Not on the first page. This is interesting. What about on the second page? Do I see daviscountylaw-ut? No, 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 no. Still not seeing it. I'm on the third page. Do I see it anywhere? Boom. So for his company name, his company website doesn't even show up until the third page. Is that a problem? Let's see what I found on the very first result on page 1. Came up as michaelmurphyut.com. That's a domain name. What's this all about? Let's see how this loaded. I've got michaelmurphyut.com, legal representation you can trust. You see the problem there? Same company website, and it looks like this is by YP, because got YP on the top here. So this is a classic example. Someone went in and they got a domain name daviscountylaw-ut.com, and they want to market this and get it going, but this is the only one that has presence because it's his company name. Okay? So what are you going to do? Are you going to try to push this one? Would you take this domain name and try to market it and push it and help him out? As long as this domain name is up, which is for the same company, and this is their brand name and it's already prevalent, this website right here will fail and fail. This is a lost cause trying to market this. So if you want to help them, it better be on this website and not his keyword optimized one. That's a classic example. It's a kind of example I actually wanted to give earlier, but I couldn't because I didn't have an example outside of an internal case study. Okay? Nick says, that's him, but with YP. Well, you say, but with YP, but if YP owns his domain name, that's his company name, and his primary presence and all of his directories are linked to this domain name, you're going to have a serious problem there. Okay? So you're not. He needs to get this out of YP. If he's saying, I'm locked into a 2-year contract with them, then unless he's going to take this down and set up another site and redo all of his directories, you're in brand conflict and you're going to fight an uphill battle. Don't do that. I don't know. That's a problem. But you're not going to work outside of it. You don't want to do that. This is already his primary. This is his brand presence already. Nick says he wants to get rid of the website because it is not mobile optimized and they are not supporting the site well. Well, Nick, the real question is, does he own that domain name? And if he owns that domain name, then he's fine. Just build another site. If he doesn't own that domain name, well, if you wanted to, you could redo all of his directories that point to this domain name, and it could get sticky. I don't know. I don't know what kind of contract he's under. I don't know who owns that domain name. But you're talking about rebuilding a brand presence and getting it out from underneath someone else. That's a different subject matter. That's a different webinar. But I can tell you one thing. Don't go market this site because you're going to fail. You either need to take this site down and build up another one or get a hold of this site. Those are your only options. Okay, Matt, sorry, I rambled on there for an additional 30 minutes, but I'll let you go ahead and wrap up.
No, not a problem. I think this was some pretty hard-hitting material, and I think everybody, you can see that Paul kind of gave you several frameworks today to jump on Google and go right to the source. You know, bypass the blogs, bypass the webinars, bypass the quote-unquote experts, and just go right to the source and see what is happening on the playground, so to say. If somebody says there's a bully out there in the playground, well, go check it out. And I think Paul gave you several frameworks that you could use, and just start searching. I would also recommend it. It will give you a tremendous education. You probably already got it over the last hour and a half, but if you just get out there and you start digging around and you start looking, and things are going to click and get into your brain, and it'll only benefit you. And then as you're sitting across the table from prospects, this stuff will start to come out, and you might even jump on your laptop, jump on Google, and say, well, let's just take a look as it is right now, doctor. How does this represent itself online? And
yeah, and real quick, Matt, this exercise that we went through, everyone, these are the conversations I have with your marketing consultants that we assign to you every day. Every single day, I meet up with a marketing consulting team, and we go over these situations. And then whenever they run into situations that conflict with what our general consulting is, we address those. The consultants will bring up on the daily meeting if they found something difficult in consulting, they bring it up to me in the meeting, and sometimes I even schedule a meeting with our partner or reseller on what that situation is. You know, the marketing consultant might say, hey, they've got a site, they're trying to go national marketing on it. They say the client has a pretty big budget. I really don't know what to do here. And I'd say, I don't know either. Let's try to get a hold of their webmaster access. You know, maybe I'll get on the phone with them and let's figure out what we need to do here. So main point is, if you don't want to look around and figure this stuff out, these are the basics you really need to know, but that's what your marketing consultant is for. And that's why you want to get a hold of your marketing consultant and ask them questions and put through a proposal request and engage in a consultative sale with them. Because if this concerns you a little bit because you're not staying up to date with things, well, you're also not in our daily meetings with the marketing consultants, right? And that's why you have an assigned marketing consultant and you have an assigned design consultant. And when you log into the dashboard, you can click on the customer support that pulls out. And if you don't have an assigned marketing or design consultant, you can call into general sales and request for one if you don't already have it. But talk to your marketing consultant. Put through your proposal requests, get your leads on the table, and get a hold of your marketing consultant and go back and forth with them and ask for some help. Sometimes it's difficult to figure out something on your own. Sometimes just sitting there and analyzing it can be difficult. You don't have anyone to bounce ideas off of. But they're sitting here all day long talking to other companies underneath a white label that are facing the same situations, and they've been able to advise on it and cover it a lot. So do make sure that you reach out to your marketing consultant, put through your proposal requests, get engaged with them, let them help you walk through the research that we can do for you, and I think you're going to be much better off. I think a lot of people don't use their marketing consultant as much as what they should, but these exact kind of conversations that we had today, this is daily training for them. So.
Yeah, no, fantastic point. I mean, we had a question earlier on the webinar, and I just answered it, but it was, how do I stay up to date on all of the changes and everything? And I made the recommendation back to I think it was Jose, but I just said, you can keep update, on this particular website, Search Engine Land or whatever, but this is absolutely why Kevin recommends to team up with Endless Rise and Paul's team and let them keep up with SEO, because they have the 30,000-foot view with all the campaigns. They're all in it daily, as Paul was just saying, and you can just ignore 90% of what's out there, because you just have to keep enough so that when you're talking to a client, they know that you understand the basic concepts of SEO. But when you go to start pushing buttons and pulling things around and make changes on the website, you got a lot to keep up. You got a lot to keep up with before you start doing that, so you don't mess something up. And that's why we recommend teaming up with Paul's team. So have a basic understanding and outsource the nitty-gritty details to Paul's team. And also, of course, absolutely leverage the team that Paul has put together. I know they put a big emphasis on training. They're very up-to-date, and so leverage Paul's team to the best. All that does is allow you to free you up to be selling more. So, and being out across the table. See, Paul's team can't be across the table with the dentist, doctor, chiropractor like you can. Let them do that, and you do the talking. And that's how the big businesses are made. And with that said, that's a segue into the upcoming webinar on the 14th. We talked about it a little bit, but I do want to remind you that we will be having Paul back again in a couple of weeks, and he will be going through a presentation giving you some principles that they have observed from how companies have got big in this industry. So if that's your aspiration, you definitely want to pay attention, because again, Paul deals with a lot of them, and so he can look into their business model and see the exact strategies that they have used to grow big, and he's going to group them together and present them to you. So I think if you want to be big, I would be on that webinar if at all possible. So, hey, Paul, thanks for sharing so much today. I mean, that was a lot. As you said, consulting with you is not cheap, and so we just got I don't know how many dollars worth of consulting and education there, but I do appreciate that, and so thank you very much. I will let you get back to your day, Paul. I'll let all of you folks out there get back to your day as well. I see some thank yous coming in, so thank you for that. I know Paul appreciates that, and we do like to hear how this has benefited you. So thanks, Roger. Thanks, Mike. Fred, thank you all for the comments. And we will see you all in a couple, unless, Paul, you have a final comment, yay or no? If not, we're going to close this thing down.
No, except for just kind of a shout out. The next webinar is 2 weeks from today. And we're going to be going over, Matt, what we're going to be doing a recap on what separates small marketing companies from big marketing companies, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So you want to attend that one. We've done the presentation before, but we've been able to modify it since then. But that's one that people would want to hear multiple times. What's separating you as a small marketing company from the big marketing companies that are out there, and what do you need to do to be able to bridge that gap? And it's going to be a really powerful webinar, and that's 2 weeks from today, so make sure that you're going to be on that webinar because that's going to be a real powerful one. And we have a presentation behind that one that literally I think has about, I don't know, Matt, I forget how many slides that are in that one, but I think that there's at least 30 or 40 slides in that PowerPoint, so it'll definitely be a well-structured presentation. So don't forget that
awesome.
The next webinar is going to be a big one. All right, thanks, Matt.
Yeah, you bet. And we will send everybody a reminder email. And Craig chimed in and he said he has seen a version of that webinar and it is very good in Craig's terms. So there is a endorsement from one of your fellow members. So yeah, definitely make that webinar. Again, 2 weeks from today, the 14th of April. Right before tax day in the States. So get your taxes done so you can enjoy the webinar on the 14th. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for attending and have a wonderful rest of your week.